Nobody can talk about your business or a special event like you can. Do you want a way to bring your message to a large audience? You need a live ZNS radio interview. 5 minutes of airtime to let listeners know directly from you all about your company, product, or upcoming event. And now, for a limited time only, get 5 interviews for 25% off or 10 interviews for 35% off. Call the ZNS sales office today, 502-3800, and get on the radio.
When a hurricane watch or warning is issued, medical emergency services are placed on high alert. For many persons seeking medical care, defining what an emergency is can be difficult to assess given all that is occurring during the storm. The following basic guidelines are designed to help you assess your emergency. If you are experiencing symptoms like shortness of breath, chest pain, severe pain, disorientation, extreme vomiting or diarrhea, vision disturbance, or suicidal thoughts, you should seek immediate medical assistance. If you are bleeding significantly or otherwise severely injured, seek emergency assistance immediately. Children presenting with symptoms like high fever and extremely listless or lethargic behavior need to be taken to the emergency room immediately. If you are unsure of the extent of your condition, you are advised to seek medical assistance immediately. Share your symptoms with the on-call doctor and get advice as to whether or not it can wait until normal business hours. Remember, emergency care is not a convenient option for basic medical care during a storm. The Public Hospitals Authority encourages members of the public to use these basic guidelines to help decide on whether something is an emergency or not. The authority reminds the public that in the case of an emergency, always call 911 or head immediately to the emergency room. This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority.
Ready, get set, and off we go into the 2022-2023 school year. Students, as you prepare to return to the classrooms for full face-to-face instruction beginning August 29th, 2022, here are some tips to assist you in getting ready. Now is the time to re-establish an earlier bedtime so that when school reopens, waking up on time would not be a challenge. Establish an evening routine. For example, plan in advance a schedule for completing homework, reading, playtime, and taking a bath. Review all health and safety protocols to ensure you remain safe when you return to school. Make your mark this school year. Ready, get set, and off we go into the 2022-2023 school year. Parents, students, teachers.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
This is a special edition of ZNS Network Radio News, the 1 o'clock report here on the ZNS Network. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Altaviz Munnings, and we're tracking Nicole. Nicole is now a tropical storm. The Met Office's latest weather advisory states weather conditions are beginning to deteriorate with life-threatening sea conditions in the northwest Bahamas. Joining us live in studio with the latest coordinates is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good afternoon, Basil. Can you tell us where the storm is right now?
Thank you, Altawiz. The latest coordinates on Nicole just in at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The center was located at 27.6 degrees north, longitude 73.3 west. That puts Nicole some 310 miles to the east-northeast of Abaco, moving towards the west at 9 miles per hour. Now, maximum sustained winds have increased to 60 miles per hour, and further intensification is expected later on tonight and tomorrow as Nicole continues to head westward. westward track. Taking a look at the forecast tracking, right now moving west, and we expect a more west-southwest track to establish later on tonight, and that should bring it pretty much over the Abacos later on tonight, with the center of Nicole reaching the Abacos by noon tomorrow. By 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the center should be pretty much over East End Grand Bahama, and by 6 o'clock in the evening over Central Grand Bahama, and by 9 o'clock tomorrow night, the center should be very near or over West End Grand Bahama, and it's at that point that we expect the system to reach hurricane intensity just before pulling off towards the west and heading towards the Florida Peninsula. Now, this is a very broad storm system with maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. But the tropical storm force winds, they extend outward some 380 miles from the center, meaning that all the islands in northwest Bahamas will experience some tropical storm winds for at least 40 miles per hour late tonight and tomorrow. So residents in the extreme northwest Bahamas, that is Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Abaco, you should brace yourself for very strong winds and torrential rainfall beginning tonight and continuing pretty much through tomorrow. And the rest of the northwest Bahamas, which is the Berry Islands, Andros, New Providence, and Eleuthera, we certainly will get those waves of rain bands starting tonight through tomorrow. And of course, the winds will be gusting in excess of tropical storm force winds over the next 24 hours. Altuis?
Basil, I know you mentioned that the Grand Bahama and Abaco Islands will be getting the brunt of the storm. We talked about that early this morning, and that the weather conditions will be affecting these islands later tonight. Are you able to give a specific time period on when the weather conditions will deteriorate in these islands? And can you also explain to us exactly the type of conditions a Category 1 hurricane brings?
Yes, at least for Eleuthera, they will start experiencing tropical storm force winds after 6 o'clock this evening. Around 8 o'clock this evening, this is when tropical storm force winds can start to be experienced in the Abacos. And for us here in New Providence, we're looking at about 10 o'clock tonight. We'll start to see those winds freshening up, getting their tropical storm conditions, and that will continue overnight. So everything will go downhill after 8 o'clock tonight in most parts of the northwest Bahamas.
Basil, when the storm leaves us, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's around Thursday, Friday, headed onto the Florida area, will that mean then that getting into the ocean, this storm may pick up strength when it heads to the U.S.?
Well, the intensification will take place just between us and the Florida Peninsula, right there in the Gulf Stream. And once it reaches, make landfall on the Florida Peninsula, weakening is expected to take place again. So it will be a short-lived hurricane later on tomorrow night.
And while the storm is impacting New Providence is sometimes getting flooding because of low-lying areas. Will you see, or will there be some type of flooding in areas of New Providence once the storm passes?
Well, looking at the rainfall models, most of the heavy rainfall, again, will occur around Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the Bimini areas. Over New Providence, we will get some light to moderate rains over the next 24 hours. But of course, persons who live in areas that are prone to flooding, it does not take much because we have had rainfall over the last couple of days. So some parts of the area might be saturated and leading to flooding as the system treks through.
And as a Grand Bahama native, I know that East End and West Grand Bahama are the more serious parts of the island that weather experts are concerned about. Is that still the case? It
is still the case, and as we said earlier, in terms of the center of this system moving perhaps smack over East End Grand Bahama starting midday tomorrow, and that will continue as it moves that west track. As you know, the island of Grand Bahama stretches east to west lengthwise, so the entire island will be impacted by the storm come tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Basil. That's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean providing us with the latest coordinates of now Tropical Storm Nicole. And as we continue our coverage of this weather system, we can tell you that the acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, is strongly advising residents in the track of Nicole to take the threat of this weather system seriously. In a national address from the National Emergency Management Agency's Gladstone Road headquarters last night, the acting PM encouraged residents of the islands that will be impacted to take every precaution to secure themselves and their property.
We repeat our request that you not try to ride out the storm in domes, trailers, makeshift residences, or low-lying areas, as emergency services will be constrained to provide assistance until the all clear is given.
And that was the acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, delivering a national address at the National Emergency Management Agency's Gladstone Road headquarters last night. It's time for our first break. We'll continue with our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole right after this.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
When it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Schools and government offices accept essential services in the Northwest Bahamas. That's the islands of Abaco, Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Berry Islands, Andros, Eleuthera, and here in New Providence are now all closed. Government's announcing that these institutions are closed until the all clear has been issued by the Bahamas Met Office. We can also tell you that classes are canceled at the University of the Bahamas' Northern Campus in Grand Bahama today through Thursday, November 10th. However, essential personnel are to report for duty today to secure offices and equipment. Classes at the University of the Bahamas' Oaksfield campus here in New Providence also canceled today and tomorrow. However, all employees are expected to report to work today to secure their offices and equipment. Operations are now suspended at the university, and operations there will remain closed tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9th, including the Chapter 1 bookstore and the Harry Seymour Library and Information Center. Well, if you're traveling today, the doors at Lynden Pilling International Airport are open and fully operational. According to a press release issued this afternoon, Lynden Pilling International Airport developers, the Nassau Airport Development Company, noted that as Tropical Storm Nicole has shifted northward and away from New Providence, LPIA will continue its operations on Wednesday, November 9th. That is, should there be no significant change in the current path of Tropical Storm Nicole. Passengers are advised to visit LPIA's webpage and social media channels for the latest information on airport operations. The public's also encouraged to contact their respective airlines for flight updates. Meantime, Family Island airports, including Andros's Fresh Creek and San Andros, Treasure Key, Leonard Thompson, Sandy Point, and Moores Island airports in Abaco, Great Harbor Key in the Berry Islands, South Bimini International, and Freeport International Airport in Grand Bahama are now all closed until further notice. However, airports in Inagua, Ragged Island, Acklands, Crooked Island, Mayaguana, Long Island, Rum Key, Exuma and the Keys, San Salvador, New Bight and Arthurstown, Cat Island, Rock Sound in South Eleuthera, and Governor's Harbor International Airport in North Eleuthera, Congo Town and Mangrove Key airports in Andros are open. These airports will be open for assessment on Thursday, November 10th at 8 a.m. The Ministry of Transport and Housing has also announced that operations have ceased at all ports in the Northwest Bahamas, and that's including right here in New Providence. And officials at the Department of Marine Resources advising fishermen to prepare their boats or vessels, gear, and other important items from damage or loss in the impact of Tropical Storm Nicole. Fishers are also encouraged to pay special attention to updates from the Met Office on the pending Tropical Storm Nicole. Once again, the Department of Marine Resources take this opportunity to again remind fishers that we are still in the hurricane season, which doesn't officially end until November 30th. Therefore, their storm or hurricane mitigating plans should be continuously updated. Time now for another break. We'll continue our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole right after this.
Car insurance, home insurance, marine insurance, this insurance, that insurance. The truth is, you may not like it very much, but you need insurance, and it has to work for you. That's why Summit insurance policies are designed with you and your life in mind, fitting your lifestyle and needs perfectly. So you can rest comfortably knowing that your car, home, boat, and business are well taken care of. Contact our agents at Insurance Management today. Summit Insurance. We peak above all others.
Welcome to the all-new CBS Pro Store. We'll be introducing various products such as plywood, sheetrock, metal stud, and a whole array of bulk construction products. So you can expect the same high level of service that you have been receiving at CBS Bahamas. We originally opened the store in 1980 as our retail location. Hearing from our customers that they wanted us to cater more to contractors, we decided to open the CBS Pro Store here at Robinson Road. So come by and visit us at CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road, where we can help you build beautiful.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, that's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. What you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
Residents here in New Providence making a mad dash to purchase their prescriptions before the storm lands on the island. Here's Clint McCartney from McCartney's Pharmacy in Palmdale.
People are concerned about having their medicine, so people get a little bit nervous and they come in and they try to get all the essential medicines, especially the chronic disease medication, like people who have diabetes, hypertension, and also glaucoma, whatever. They try to get the medicine on time so that they would not be without it.
Well, still talking health, the Public Hospitals Authority working around the clock across the country to ensure health facilities are in order as the storm approaches the Northwest Bahamas. The Public Hospitals Authority is also paying attention to mental health and those who may suffer from mental health as the storm approaches, lands, and leaves our country. Joining us now is Rochelle Basin from the Sandalers Rehabilitation Center. And Ms. Basin, first of all, tell us exactly what type of mental health symptoms do residents experience during a natural disaster?
So the usual fears and anxiety, depression, stress, a lot of stress-related kind of symptoms that some of them are pre-existing and some of them are just triggered by the storm or the fact that you might have gone through something in the recent past. Like, for instance, we've just gone through COVID and Hurricane Dorian, particularly for those same islands that are now in the path of Nicole.
The symptoms that you see has elevated the most when it comes to persons being worried about a natural disaster impacting our country?
I'll say stress. The acute stress symptoms are most likely at least the first symptoms that will appear.
And what can someone do if they see a friend or someone they know who may be experiencing mental health during a natural disaster, or even in general? What advice would you suggest that they give to a certain individual who may be experiencing these symptoms?
Well, we want to be supportive. We want to really make sure that we have that support network around that person and that person feels free and comfortable to share, that they will be that you'd be a trustworthy person that they can engage with and share their concerns and share their fears with without any repercussions.
And if an individual seeks your assistance or any of your colleagues who may be depressed or suffering from stress during this natural disaster, if they don't want to come or if they're feeling that they don't want to talk to someone, how would you encourage them to open up and relieve some of these symptoms that they're experiencing?
So we want to encourage people to not suffer alone and to not be ashamed. Mental illness is an illness just like any other illness, and it affects the brain. But not in all cases is it that it's a diagnosable condition. It may simply be that you're just having some difficulties dealing with what's going on right now in your environment, and you may just need someone to talk to. It may not always be that you need a professional to talk to, but when you reach that point, please don't be ashamed or embarrassed to come forward. Please feel free to contact the Community Counseling and Assessment Center. That's our outpatient arm on Collins Avenue, number 52 Collins Avenue. Please feel free. The hours are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and also the Timothy McCartney building at the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, which houses the psychology department. The same hours, the 9 to 5, or we actually are open from 8, so 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. There are also helplines that are available through the Bahama Psychological Association, and I can leave those numbers with you and that contact information with you at the end of this interview.
Ms. Basin, I know it's natural as a part of the human anatomy that people suffer from any type of ailment, but when it comes to mental health, and for those people who may be looking from the outside in, how does a person start experiencing mental health symptoms, or I don't mean to be negative, but why would a person be afraid if a natural disaster comes? How would they feel it would affect them?
So, like I say, sometimes it reactivates old hurts, fears, concerns from the past. So, people may have gone through something similar in the past, and so when they hear the winds howling and the rain beating down, then it just kind of reactivates some of those old fears and concerns. And at that moment, it may not be that easy for them to reach out to talk to somebody, depending on what kinds of connections may have been lost due to the storm itself. But those people who are in their immediate environment with them will then be those persons who would have to render the immediate kind of support. So it's good to be prepared. It's good to have that toolkit ready to employ when that happens and when if that need arises. So things like relaxation and deep breathing, meditation, making sure that you're looking after yourself, that you're not forgetting to eat and to get sufficient rest, and that during a storm may not be the right time to get in the exercise, but that's part of what is needed to prepare you, to strengthen you for life's ups and downs and trials and tribulations. So we want to just encourage people to create that supportive network and environment around persons, and particularly at times like this.
Ms. Basin, is COVID-19, although we've been reporting low cases for the past several weeks now, is COVID-19 still impacting persons suffering from mental health symptoms?
So yes, the thing with COVID-19 is that it was so long and so protracted, and it has not gone away completely yet either. And so people have used up a lot of their resources, and not just external or financial or tangible type resources, but their emotional resources. And so even the caregivers are suffering from what we call compassion fatigue. So it's important to just recognize that that we are in a somewhat of a fragile mental state now, not just as individuals, but as a country as well. And so to just be understanding and compassionate and try to, look out for your fellow man.
And my final question, what advice would you give to individuals, especially, or to give an example, staff members here at ZNS who have to be working around the clock to ensure that our listeners and viewers understand or know the latest on the weather system? There are other individuals who are working during the storm and they may be experiencing mental health too, but they have to contain it because they're on their job and they have to make sure that they're showing a strong sense of security. What advice would you have to individuals like that?
So to the extent that it's possible for persons to take a break in that, even though you're at work and you're in the line of fire, so to speak, if to the extent that it is possible to take a moment and have a moment, please do so. Don't try to burn the candle from both ends. So when you need to take a break, say, have a buddy, have somebody that you can say, listen, I need a moment, like have my back kind of thing.
Excellent advice. This is Rochelle Baston of the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. Ms. Baston, thanks so much for taking time in your schedule to join us this afternoon and providing this excellent advice to our listeners and our viewers. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. Everybody stays safe.
We're continuing our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole. We'll take another break, and we'll hear from the Bahamas Telecommunications Company right after this.
It is never easy to witness nature's wrath. One single named path of destruction over the course of a few hours, sometimes minutes, sometimes seconds, can change your life forever. There's nothing you can do to prevent a hurricane from being destructive by nature, but there is something you can do to protect your assets and ensure safety for not only yourself, but also the ones you love. When disaster strikes, be prepared. J.S. Johnson Insurance agents and brokers, giving you peace of mind.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet's so fast, I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse with my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet's so fast, I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine's so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Car insurance, home insurance, marine insurance, this insurance, that insurance. The truth is, you may not like it very much, but you need insurance, and it has to work for you. That's why Summit insurance policies are designed with you and your life in mind, fitting your lifestyle and needs perfectly. So you can rest comfortably knowing that your car, home, boat, and business are well taken care of. Contact our agents at Insurance Management today. Summit Insurance. We peak above all others.
When a hurricane watch or warning is issued, medical emergency services are placed on high alert. For many persons seeking medical care, defining what an emergency is can be difficult to assess given all that is occurring during the storm. The following basic guidelines are designed to help you assess your emergency. If you are experiencing symptoms like shortness of breath, chest pain, severe pain, disorientation, extreme vomiting or diarrhea, vision disturbance, or suicidal thoughts, you should seek immediate immediate medical assistance. If you are bleeding significantly or otherwise severely injured, seek emergency assistance immediately. Children presenting with symptoms like high fever and extremely listless or lethargic behavior need to be taken to the emergency room immediately. If you are unsure of the extent of your condition, you are advised to seek medical assistance immediately. Share your symptoms with the on-call doctor and get advice as to whether or not it can wait until normal business hours. Remember, emergency care is not a convenient option for basic medical care during a storm. The Public Hospitals Authority encourages members of the public to use these basic guidelines to help decide on whether something is an emergency or not. The authority reminds the public that in the case of an emergency, always call 911 or head immediately to the emergency room. This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare. Where should you start getting things on the outside of your home prepared for a storm?
Thanks so much for staying with us. The Bahamas Telecommunications Company monitoring its equipment around the Northwest Bahamas, particularly on the islands of Storm Nicole. Joining us now is BTC's Director of Technological Operations, Chantel Hutchinson. Good afternoon, Chantel. Good to see you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you.
So, Chantel, tell us about BTC's preparation for Tropical Storm Nicole, particularly in Grand Bahama and Abaco.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Bahamas. So yesterday evening, we initiated our local response management team. So since yesterday afternoon, we've been doing checks, ensuring our equipment and our network is in place and able to respond to any situations with regards to Nicole. So our teams on the ground in Grand Bahama, Bimini, Andros, New Providence, the Berry Islands, and Abaco are securing equipment, securing our network, and ensuring that it's available and resilient to our people.
Post-Dorian, it's been almost like 3 years now since Dorian ravaged Abaco and Grand Bahama. Is BTC still upgrading its network from the storm, and what are some of the lessons that were learned from then that could help with preparations for Tropical Storm Nicole now?
So we have done extensive work in Grand Bahama and Abaco. We've deployed some HCI containers, which is going to be our first test of resiliency in those islands during this tropical storm. We've buried a lot of our cabling. We've ensured that our network is very robust during any kind of situation, not just during hurricane. So we have learned a lot of lessons during Dorian, as well as we've learned a lot of lessons from smaller outages that we've had in our network. So we are very robust. We've deployed, like I said earlier, HCI containers, and these containers are set to withstand hurricane strength winds.
Now, can you assure residents in the Northwest Bahamas that BTC will be up and running in the event we get serious damage, especially in Grand Bahama and Abaco?
Yes, we can reassure. We've learned a lot of lessons from Dorian. And again, as I said earlier, our HCI containers, which we've deployed in Grand Bahama and Abaco, in McLeanstown and Cooperstown that we have there in Marsh Harbor, we are reassured that those will withstand hurricane strength winds. We've prepared our network as best as we possibly can, and we're reassuring our people that we will stand with them during the storm.
That was Chantel Hutchinson, Director of Technological Operations at BTC. Chantel, good to see you. Be safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, and you stay safe. Thank you.
We'll have one more break, and we'll continue with our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole right after this.
Welcome to the all-new CBS Pro Store. We'll be introducing various products such as plywood, sheetrock, metal stud, and a whole array of bulk construction products. So you can expect the same high level of service that you have been receiving at CBS Bahamas. We originally opened the store in 1980 as our retail location. Hearing from our customers that they wanted us to cater more to contractors, we decided to open the CBS Pro Store here at Robinson Road. So come by and visit us at CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road, where we can help you build beautiful.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, that's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. what you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
The Public Hospitals Authority wishes to ensure that you and your family are safe and prepared during the hurricane season. There are a few simple rules to follow that will help you to better manage your health during a storm. Ensure you have a 2-week supply of any medications you are taking. Ensure you have a first aid kit. Ensure you make contact with your healthcare provider to reschedule any appointments or procedures that may have been scheduled ahead of the storm. The public is reminded that ambulance services are only provided to service medical emergencies. The National Emergency Medical Services advises the public that once winds exceed 50 miles per hour, ambulance services are discontinued until the all clear is given.
When a hurricane watch or warning is issued, members of the public are asked to ensure adequate supplies of prescription medications are on hand, at least a 1-week supply. Ensure all dietary requirements relative to health are on hand. Take note of all public announcements regarding the termination of visiting hours and outpatient services at public hospitals, and the resumption of visiting hours and outpatient services after the all clear has been given. In the event of a medical emergency during the hurricane, call 919 to report your emergency.
This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare. Windows are another vulnerable part of the exterior of our homes. Antonio Miller gives us some good advice on how to hurricane-proof windows and a surprising way to make sure that you've repaired all the cracks.
The part of our window I think we need to check to get ready for a storm is the seams of a window. And a lot of times you can tell because ants do a really good job finding their way in between those seams. A nice easy fix for that is get some caulking, some window caulking, go around, beat it all around the window. That's a nice way of sealing it. Also, directional rain. If you get a rain coming at an angle and it's hitting, and a lot of times that happens too, if you can hear the rain hitting on your window pane or your glass, that also means that if you have a seam, the water can also get in as well.
This has been another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to prepare you for the storm.
Only one network.
This used to be the waiting terminal for the airport. It's now gone.
We have the most experienced team covering hurricane.
But when Hurricane Irma makes landfall here in New Providence in a few hours,
we cover the entire Bahamas before, during, and after the storm. One network covers every island, rock, and key. We are the best because we have the best. For hurricane coverage, there's only one network, the ZNS Network.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare. Where should you start getting things on the outside of your home prepared for a storm? Here's some good advice from Antonio Miller about just where to begin.
I think one of the first things you should do to secure your yard while a hurricane is approaching is to take a 5-10 minutes and walk around your property and make sure that, for the most part, anything that you can lift, you have anchored down or move out of the way. That's one of the first steps.
Now that you know how to start your preparations, here are some important things you need to remember to do because a lot of people leave them until the last moment or forget them completely.
One of the things most people forget to do or do very late is secure their vehicles. And you may be like, how do I secure my vehicles? Well, you want to make sure that you are parked in an area that if, for example, this is prone for flooding, you want to move the vehicle out of that area that's prone for flooding. Also, pets, you want to make sure that if you have outdoor pets, if you have dogs that are inside dog houses or tied, you want to make sure that during the storm, you really want them inside or, secure a space for them inside. Another thing a lot of people forget to do until it's the very, very last minute, I think is always, securing the windows. I think that's one of the last things we see to do when there's imminent danger, securing the windows of a home.
This has been another ZNS Hurricane Readiness Tip to prepare you for the storm.
Let me introduce. Taking a look at another story that's making news across the Bahamas today. Let's be real. That's basically the message Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, implored to world leaders at the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP27, in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt this morning. He underscored how the climate change crisis is impacting the Bahamas, particularly with subtropical storm, now Tropical Storm Nicole, approaching our shores. We'll have more on the Prime Minister's address in this evening's newscast. And as we continue our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole, we're now going to take a look at the national press conference held last night at the National Emergency Management Agency's Gladstone Road headquarters.
P.S. Carl Smith, Director of NEMA, Captain Stephen Russell, Acting Director of Local Government Neil Campbell, other senior government officials, to the media, good evening. We are about to commence our 8 p.m. press briefing as it relates to Tropical Storm Nicole. I'll issue some brief remarks and then I'll turn over to Captain Stephen Russell, who would introduce the leaders of the relevant government agencies to give an update on Tropical Storm Nicole. After the speakers, then we'd have a question and answer period. Early on today, myself and a few cabinet ministers were briefed. We had a full cabinet briefing later on this evening. The Prime Minister has been briefed by the Acting Prime Minister, I. Chester Cooper. Statements were made with regards to the closing of schools and government buildings in affected areas tomorrow, full closures, and also around 12 o'clock. Those information will be disseminated will be reinforced, and we'll take questions after that. I'll turn on now to Commander Stephen Russell, who will introduce the speakers for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ludo. Colleagues, media, good afternoon to all, good evening to all of you, and good evening, Bahamas. Again, as the Minister mentioned, we had a series of briefings throughout the course of the day, appraising the Cabinet, the Prime Minister, in terms of the state of readiness of the country for the approaching storm. I have a series of our technical officers here this evening to further enforce various aspects of those presentations to share with you to the media. I want to share one thing with you before I start calling our series of speakers. All of our shelters in the areas, under the warning areas, they'll be activated tomorrow as of 0900, that is 9 a.m. in the morning. Our shelters will be fully activated in those areas. We have plans and motions to evacuate persons from Grand Key as well as Sweden's Key and to bring them into the mainland out of potential harm's way. And that plan of action will be activated as early as 9 a.m. as well in the morning. So shelters and evacuations, they will take place as of 9 a.m. tomorrow. We urge persons in those areas where we are deeming areas to be evacuated, we strongly urge persons, once the teams come to evacuate them from the area, please move with the teams. Once the teams would have departed, they're not coming back for persons who have changed their mind in the process. Thank you on that matter. We look forward to your cooperation during that evacuation exercise tomorrow. Again, our first speaker to present to you on the update on Tropical Storm Nicole, I have a team from the Department of Meteorology. Mr. Green, can you come, please?
Good evening, everyone. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday the 7th of November, 2022, Nicole was located at 26.7 degrees north, 70.8 degrees west. That's 378 miles east of Hopetown, Abaco, 440 miles east-northeast of East End, Grand Bahama, 372 miles east-northeast of Harbor Island, Eleuthera, and 420 miles east-northeast of New Providence. Nicole is moving towards the northwest at 8 miles an hour. Maximum sustained winds remain at 45 miles an hour. Winds of 40 miles an hour extend outward up to 310 miles. Some of the impacts expected from the passing of subtropical storm Nicole is storm surge, which can raise water levels by as much as 3 to 5 feet above normal tides along coastal areas. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches is expected, with localized higher amounts of up to 6 inches across the northwest Bahamas from Tuesday through Thursday. Formation of waterspout and tornadoes are possible during the passage of Nicole, and we expect that to last until about Saturday because of the trailing thunderstorms that will be around after the passage of the storm. Coastal erosion of Atlantic exposed beaches with hazardous waves and swells will affect most of the northwest and portions of the central Bahamas. So flooding is likely along coastal areas as the storm passes through the northwest Bahamas. In terms of timelines, we expect that the storm would affect the Abacos in terms of tropical storm winds as of Tuesday evening. And the same is for Grand Bahama. That will be at 11 p.m., that late that evening. For the Berry Islands, we expect tropical storm conditions around the evening of Wednesday morning, 12 a.m. Bimini, they should start receiving tropical storm force winds around 5 a.m. on Wednesday. And New Providence should start receiving tropical storm force winds at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. So we are warning especially the boaters that they should have already secured their vessels. If not, they should secure them before the passage of the storm. We know that as the winds increase, that would be a more difficult task. So we're asking everyone who has a boat or to moor them and come safely inland. Other impacts, they would be from any of the storms that are passing through the central islands as the storm travels towards the west. So we have other isolated cells that will most likely affect the central islands as they move towards the west, the rain bands. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Green, from the Department of Meteorology. And I call on the Executive Chairman of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Mr. Alex Storr. As you're aware, the DRA still have carriage of recovery in the disaster zone of Abaco and Grand Bahama. Mr. Alex Storr, please.
Good evening, everybody. We have begun contacting our contractors in the affected zones, especially those in charge of the debris management sites, to make sure that those sites are secured and that we don't have a situation where we have missiles and other debris littered about caused by the hurricane. We have also begun contacting contractors, and we work closely with the Ministry of Works to make sure that there's a coordinated effort should there be a hit, that we can have any debris, any other obstructions cleared as quickly as possible. We have also been contacting through our database persons that are living in RVs and domes on private property in the affected areas. We strongly advise against anybody staying in those domes and RVs during the passage of the storm. And as a matter of fact, our teams went into one of the RV sites today and, after speaking with residents, encountered some resistance on persons that did not want to move. I will say this, especially those in Abaco that are in RVs, you know what a hurricane can do. You have seen the effects. You are living in the RVs because of what the last hurricane past did. You do not want to face, even though it's a Category 1, you do not want to face a hurricane in what is basically a tin can. And I'll put it bluntly like that. I think that Captain Russell spoke earlier today about a next of kin form for you to fill out. Do not take that lightly. If there's a direct impact of a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane with 45+ mile-per-hour winds, you do not want to be in either the domes or in the RVs. And so we strongly recommend that you evacuate. The shelters will be open in the morning, or if you have family members or another place that you can move to, please do that as soon as possible. Do not wait for the last minute, and do not attempt to stay in the domes or RVs, and then when the hurricane comes, you want to put emergency service at risk because you're calling for rescue. Thank you.
And that was a recap of the national press conference held last evening at the National Emergency Management Agency's Gladstone Road headquarters. As we continue our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole, we now want to take this moment to provide some spiritual intervention to all of our listeners and our viewers here on the ZNS network. Joining us live now is the president of the Bahamas Christian Council, Apostle Delton Fernandez, who will offer this prayer to the nation.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we are mindful that your word declares that you are very present help in the time of trouble. You challenge us not to be anxious about anything, but in prayer and supplication, make all our requests known to you. So as a nation, we bow today, covering our northern aspect of our islands, our northwest islands, knowing that you've already hedged us in. Thank you, God, that even in the midst of Nicole, we serve a God that is stronger than Nicole. We serve a God that has been faithful to these islands, this archipelago called the Bahamas. Today we ask that you would give us the peace that passeth all understanding. But also as we prepare, we pray, knowing that our help cometh from the Lord. We're thankful today, God, that at the end of this matter, we're going to give you thanks that even after we've come through, it was you who have kept us. It was you who watched over us. It was you that hemmed us in the cleft of the rock. So bless each island that is in the cone. Bless each person that is making preparation. Bless our efforts that at the end of the day, we can use this time to lock away to you, and that you will be our fortress in the time of trouble. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. That was a prayer for the nation from the president of the Bahamas Christian Council, Apostle Delton Fernandez. We will continue our coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole here on the ZNS network. We're going to now send it over to our colleagues over at the Northern Service in Freeport, as the islands of Grand Bahama and Abaco, according to the Met Office, are expected to bear the brunt of Tropical Storm Nicole. We encourage you to join us here at 3 o'clock for more coverage right here at the ZNS Network at our headquarters in New Providence. We also want to tell you that our continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole will continue this evening during our national report and the Northern edition. Mukesh Lapinda will join us live at 7 for the latest details on Tropical Storm Nicole. We encourage you also to stay tuned to the Bahamas Radio Network for all the latest weather updates from the Met Office on Tropical Storm Nicole. Our Chief Meteorologist, Basil Dean, will join us live at every opportunity to provide us with the latest coordinates. We here at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas encourage you to prepare and get all of the immediate resources that you need in order to stay safe as this storm passes. We have our crews, our dynamic news team at several spots across New Providence. We have a crew that's headed to Eleuthera and our Northern Service News team to provide you full coverage of the trek of Tropical Storm Nicole. On behalf of our dynamic production and news teams, I'm Altaviz Munnings. And once again, I just want to tell you to stay right here on the ZNS Network for our live coverage of the passage of Tropical Storm Nicole, and I'm being told that we're going to go back to Apostle Delton Fernando, who will provide us with some more spiritual advice for those of you who may be feeling some type of mental health symptoms, as we discussed earlier, in order just to give you some comfort as this storm approaches Grand Bahama. And Bishop Fernando, there are residents, especially in Grand Bahama and Abaco, who may be going through a state of deja vu because of the brunt of Hurricane Dorian that impacted that island several years ago. What spiritual advice would you want to give to residents in Grand Bahama and Abaco right now?
It is ironic that I just came back from Abaco just a few days as we installed President Cartwright, Reverend Cartwright, to lead the Christian Council in Abaco, and I can relate to what the feeling is like in Grand Bahama and Abaco, and being there right after the storm, as it will be right after this one, to do the assessment, that we have this confidence in knowing that who God keeps is well kept. The Bible is challenging us time and time again that which of us by worrying can change anything. This is the time when you have your confidence in a God that is bigger than your circumstance. This is the time that you take it out of your hands and you put it in God's hands. So many times we try to figure everything out. We worry about things that we have no control about. But in the next hours, the time we have, and it's the beauty of being Bahamian, that I could come on the national radio and television and challenge you to really find that connection with God today. That while we prepare for wind and rain, we know that there's a God that has already prepared for us. And I want to challenge you in this time that you might be stressed, you might be worrying, but this is the time that you need to find that place and pray. And just offer that word to God. And when you walk away knowing that God has you covered and He can help us through these difficult circumstances. Be anxious for nothing, but everything in prayer and supplication, present it to the Lord.
And Bishop Fernando, for me, I know reading the Word is also helpful when you want to get closer to God and understand His spiritual intervention. Suggest one book in the Bible that we can read right now to provide some comfort.
The book of Psalms is a book that talks about good and bad times. It is a peak and valley book that gives us not only the song book of the Bible, but gives us the context that it talks about. Sometimes when you're in challenging times, that those that require out of us a song, and they said, how can we sing the songs of Zion in a strange land? This is the time to sing. And so I believe that you might have a voice like mine that cracks. You might have the inability to lift soprano and tenor like myself. But he says, make a joyful noise. From chapter 1 to the end of the book will bring you through. As you focus on blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, but sit in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the word of the Lord. This is the time to meditate on God's word and let him minister to us and bring us through. I would recommend the book of Psalms.
Apostle Delton Fernando, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, thank you much, sir, for taking time out to provide some spiritual advice to the nation today.
God bless.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. And that will end our coverage at this moment here at ZNS headquarters here in Providence. We're going to now toss it over to our colleagues in Freeport at the Northern Service. As you've heard us report, the Met Office has reported that the brunt of Tropical Storm Nicole will bear on Grand Bahama and Abaco, and we have teams in Abaco covering the landing of the storm there as well as in Grand Bahama. On behalf of the entire team, the technical team, and our news team, I'm Altaviz Munnings. Thanks again for tuning in, Bahamas. Join us right back here at 3 o'clock this afternoon for our continued coverage of Tropical Storm Nicole. Good afternoon.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse with my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Hurricane watch or warning has been issued, it is extremely important to be prepared and know just what to do. Stay informed about the storm's path by listening to the radio or television for hurricane progress reports. Check emergency food and household supplies. Be sure you have extra batteries for flashlights and radios. Bring in outdoor items like lawn furniture and garden tools. Anchor objects that cannot be brought inside. Secure buildings by closing and boarding up windows. Remove outside antennas and satellite dishes. Turn refrigerators and freezers to the coldest settings, opening only when absolutely necessary and closing quickly. Purchase ice and store it in an ice chest. Keep drinking water in clean jugs and bottles. Clean your bathtub with bleach and fill it with water for washing and flushing, not for drinking, making sure to keep the bathroom door closed so that small children cannot access the filled tub. Do not go out to videotape or take photos of the storm. Take pictures from inside where it is safe and dry. There is no harm in being overly cautious where a hurricane is concerned. It is truly better to be safe than sorry. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency. The Saffir-Simpson Hurricane Wind Scale was developed in 1971 by civil engineer Herbert Saffir and meteorologist Robert Simpson, who was the director of the U.S. National Hurricane Center. It was introduced to the public in 1973 and began to be widely used a year later, inspired by the Richter scale that measures earthquakes. The Saffir-Simpson scale was divided into 5 categories. Originally, the scale included predicted barometric pressures associated with the various wind speeds, as well as the relative kinds of damage that could be anticipated. However, because those predictions were found to be very inaccurate just a few years ago, the warning system was changed to include only the wind speeds, which were also adjusted upwards in the higher categories. A Category 1 hurricane has wind speeds between 74 and 95 miles per hour. A Category 2 hurricane has wind speeds between 96 and 110 miles per hour. A Cat 3, 111 to 129 miles per hour. A Cat 4, 130 to 156 miles per hour. And a Category 5 hurricane will have wind speeds from 157 miles per hour and up. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th. When a hurricane alert is issued for your area, which indicates the possibility that you could experience hurricane conditions within 60 hours, you should begin the initial stages of preparation for the storm. When the storm is 48 hours away, a hurricane watch is issued. Once a watch is issued, be sure to get updates from the Met Office via television or radio. Get your battery-powered radio ready. Keep your emergency supply kit, blankets, and sleeping bags handy, and keep children and pets indoors. Be sure you have extra cash and a car tank full of gas. Fill all prescriptions. A hurricane warning means that a storm with winds up to 74 miles per hour or more is 36 hours away. At this point, secure all windows with shutters and plywood. Place your valuables in a waterproof container and store them on the highest floor in your home or in the safest area. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare. Edward Albury, Vice President with responsibility for claims at J.S. Johnson, tells us when we should update our home insurance policy and how to tell if we have enough coverage.
As far as your policy being updated and sufficient coverage, optimally you would want to make sure that your sums insured mirror the value of your property. And one of the ways to do that is to have a professional appraisal done at regular intervals, perhaps maybe every 3 years, so that you know what the value of your home is and you can match that to the sum insured.
Now, should we inform our insurer about any home improvements?
Well, obviously, anything that you do to your house, any improvements or whatever, you want to make sure and let your insurer know. Because if you say, for example, you buy a generator or you add a section to your house, these changes change the values that are involved. And so your insurer should know so they can tell you whether or not your insurance should be adjusted to match the changes in the value. So any changes that change the risk, right, or the value of the properties, they should be updated and notified to your insurer.
This has been another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to prepare you for the storm. Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare. Edward Albury, Vice President with responsibility for claims at J.S. Johnson, helps us understand whether our home's contents are covered by our insurance.
Generally, people think that all the contents in their home are covered by their contents insurance. That's not essentially true. We all know that motor cars, trailers, caravans, motorcycles, boats, we know those things are not covered under your contents, but you may have parts or accessories for those items in your home. They are not considered contents under your home and contents and policy.
He also explains just what a hurricane deductible is.
Hurricane deductibles are a very important aspect and something that's usually not very clear to policyholders. For hurricanes or hurricane peril, the deductible is 2% of the sum insured. So to give you an example, if your home, your building is insured for $200,000, then your deductible would be $4,000. And the further explanation is there are many people who think that they have to pay a deductible. You don't pay a deductible. It's actually deducted from whatever the settlement is. So if you have a claim for $6,000, the deductible is deducted from the $6,000 and you get to $2,000. If, for example, the damages are, say, $3,000, then you can't make a claim because it falls within the $4,000 deductible.
This has been another ZNS Hurricane Readiness Tip to prepare you for the storm. Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS Hurricane Readiness Tip to help you prepare. Edward Albury, Vice President with responsibility for claims at J.S. Johnson, explains exactly what wind damage is and whether it is covered in a homeowner's insurance policy.
Wind damage could be defined in many ways. You have wind damage which is 73 miles per hour or more. If that's the case, then it's defined as a hurricane peril. If it's, say, 39 miles per hour up to 73 miles per hour, then this would be considered storm damage. And so wind in both of those categories would be covered under your policy, one under storm and the other under the hurricane peril.
Now, is water damage covered in homeowners' policies?
Essentially, accidental escapes from your toilet having a crack, your pipes bursting, water heater bursting. These are all covered perils under your insurance policy. Essentially as well, if the rainwater rises to a certain level outside the home and seeps through the doors or whatever, that is also covered. What is probably not covered is if there's no named peril and you have a leak in your roof and it caused flooding within. Well, that would not be covered because there's no peril operating. It's really probably more a maintenance or wear and tear issue.
What about mold damage?
Mold damage under all policies that we are aware of are never covered, regardless of whatever the circumstances are. And that's a market-based exclusion.
This has been another ZNS Hurricane Readiness Tip to prepare you for the storm.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS Hurricane Readiness Tip to help you prepare. Edward Albury, Vice President with responsibility for claims at J.S. Johnson, lets us know what insurance coverage we could have if we need to live elsewhere after a storm hits while our home is being repaired.
Under the hurricane peril, additional living expenses is not covered. It's covered under fire and escape of water losses, but under the hurricane peril loss, it's not. However, it can be added in for an additional premium. And that's probably worth it, considering.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
As Tropical Storm Nicole approaches the northern Bahama Islands, the northern Bahamas is now under a hurricane watch. Good afternoon, Bahamas. I'm Ramiko Knowles, and this is a special live broadcast bringing you updates, safety tips, and everything you need to know as we track Nicole. We will also have officials from various agencies on throughout the show, providing updates from their respective areas. But first, joining me live in studio is Chief Meteorologist Orson Nixon. Orson, the big question, where is Nicole at this moment?
The latest coordinates of Nicole puts it at 27.6 degrees north and 73.3 degrees west. This is about 275 miles east-northeast of Hopetown, about 325 miles east-northeast of East End, and about 365 miles to the east of east-northeast of Freeport. Now, Nicole is currently moving at west at about 9 miles per hour, and maximum sustained winds are around 60 miles per hour. So in the last couple hours, Nicole has strengthened.
Seemed to intensify rather quickly. We've been hearing that Grand Bahama and Abaco will feel the brunt of this storm. What could we expect in this storm?
As Nicole actually gets a little closer to the islands, we're gonna start seeing, this evening, tropical storm force winds start to impact the Abacos, and then later on in the night start to move towards East Grand Bahama, engulfing Grand Bahama, the entire Grand Bahama by at least midnight tonight. In terms of the strengthening, intensification is showing that Nicole is expected to at least strengthen to a minimum hurricane by tomorrow. And this will impact Abaco and Grand Bahama.
But you were mentioning that 12 o'clock tonight, Grand Bahama should begin to feel the impact. So residents at this point, what should they be doing in terms of getting ready for this storm?
Right now, the residents in Abaco should have already completed their preparations. Residents in Grand Bahama, especially Eastern, should already completed their preparations, and the remainder of Grand Bahama should be finalizing their preparations for the system.
We were able to go throughout the streets of Grand Bahama today. There are not many homes battened up, and it seems as though many persons may not be taking this storm as serious as they should. Is that a concern? That should homes be battened up? Is the wind going to intensify to a point where persons should be concerned, or you know, why aren't they taking it as seriously as they should at this point?
With any tropical cyclone system, whether it's just a tropical storm or a hurricane, residents should always take these systems seriously. Especially when you're talking about people are still recovering from Dorian, which will happen from 2019. And those repairs have not been completed. So residents should not take it lightly. They should definitely take it seriously.
Okay. And what kind of water will we expect from this? That is also a major concern in the low-lying areas, you know, the southern district especially. What kind of rainfall or water should we expect from this storm?
With this system, we are expecting somewhere between 3 to 5 inches. In some isolated areas, you can expect up to about 7 inches of rainfall. Now, over the past few days, we have been getting streams of showers over the island. So the ground is already a little saturated. So on top of the 3 to 5 inches falling with this system, you're definitely going to get some flooding in low-lying areas. Also, with the continuous on-flow of winds on the northern shoreline over the past couple of days, and also with this system moving in, we're getting a pileup of water on the northern side of the coast. So we can expect somewhere between 3 to 5 feet of inundation, flooding on the coast side, on the northern side.
You talked about the storm strengthening to a hurricane. By tomorrow, you mentioned?
By tomorrow, yeah.
What kind of winds are we talking? You know, you say Category 1, but how strong?
It's on the low end side of the Cat 1 category. So you're looking at somewhere around 70 miles per hour.
70 miles per hour winds. It's certainly nothing that you should take lightly.
No, not at all.
With the north side, we know earlier today we've spoken to residents in East Grand Bahama and also the chief counsel in that area. And there's some good news. The persons have begun to evacuate the area, and should they do so during this time?
Yes. Definitely those persons, especially if they know that their area is prone for flooding, they should be starting to look for higher ground to actually seek shelter during the passage.
Okay. We also know that as a result of this storm and the proximity of the projected course of this subtropical storm, Nicole, to the island of the Bahamas and to the prediction of its development into a possible hurricane and the forecasted weather associated with the storm, which is expected to impact the Bahamas, the Cabinet Office has announced that closure of all government offices except for essential services at 12 noon today. Once again, the Cabinet Office has announced the closure of all government offices except for essential services at 12 noon today. Now, the Freeport Airport Development Company has also released a statement on the closure of the Grand Bahama International Airport. Officials are advising stakeholders, including airline passengers, vendors, and customers of the closing of the Grand Bahama International Airport due to the impending subtropical storm Nicole 2022. The airport will suspend services at sunset today and anticipate reopening on Thursday, November 10th at 10 a.m. Once the all clear has been given by the Met Department, all necessary assessments have been made. The Freeport Airport Development Company will continue to monitor the development of the system and advise of any changes if it becomes necessary. Now, we also have a report in from the Ministry of Education and Vocational Training releasing a statement this afternoon on the closure of schools in Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands. The release notes that in partnership with the Met Department, they are closely monitoring Tropical Storm Nicole, which on its present track is expected to impact Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands between tomorrow at 2 p.m. And based on the advice of the Department of Meteorology, these islands are projected to experience strong winds and heavy rainfall. And as a precautionary measure, the ministry announced that effective today, all schools on the islands of Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands will close until the all clear is given by the Met Department. Certainly, schools should be closed. Government offices will be closed as well. But at this particular time, should residents be making their final preparations? You know, a lot of grocery stores being packed now. The water depots are being packed now. Should residents be making their final preparations? And at what time exactly should everything be done when no one should be on the streets?
Like persons in Abaco, by sunset, they should have already have all of their necessary supplies that they need to ride out this system. And similarly, most of the food stores will be closing shortly after that anyway in Grand Bahama. So also by that time in Grand Bahama, everybody should have all of their canned goods, non-perishable goods, battery-operated radios to listen to updates and stuff like that from the media. Make sure if you have any backup generators, make sure they are fuel top up and everything ready to go. Your cell phones, mobile devices, make sure they have all of their minutes of what you will need to ride out this system.
And speaking of mobile devices, we also know that officials from the Bahamas Telecommunications Company have tapped in with us. We will be speaking with them shortly with regards to their preparations in light of this storm. We also know that the Public Hospital Authority issuing a statement last evening on readiness plans. Ajakwan has that report. Okay, we'll have that for you in just a few moments. But we have spoken to officials in East Grand Bahama today, where we learned that residents have begun to evacuate, and we're going to go to the Chief Counselor for East Grand Bahama, Marcus Cooper. One of our reporters spoke to him earlier today.
Persons in the East Grand Bahama district to evacuate or find themselves inland, and so far we had some good response. I know for sure all of our disabled, our special need individuals, we would have ensured that they would have exited the district. Along with the administrator and all of the council members, we are continuing to speak with the resident just to keep them informed as to the pending matter, and again to encourage them to make the right decision for them and their families. So.
Now, Cooper also mentioning that as the day progressed, he expects that the increase or the numbers of persons evacuating will increase.
Go throughout the day, they are making up their mind, depending on the weather, what they should do. So far, we between 60 to 80 persons, keeping in mind that a lot of persons still haven't returned to Eastern since Dorian.
East Grand Bahama, an area of concern for this storm, especially, you know, after Hurricane Dorian, one of the hardest hit areas, 70-mile-per-hour winds. What kind of impact will they feel in East Grand Bahama?
In that area with minimum hurricane conditions, they can look at if, depending on the structure of their dwelling, you can have some shingles actually being torn off the roof. Also, you have debris flying about, loose wood, cans, and so forth. These can, if your home is not fully protected from hurricane, this can cause some damage to your home.
We also know that in these adverse weather conditions, there's a threat of tornadic activity. Is that suspected during this time?
Definitely. In all tropical cyclones, hurricanes, especially the hurricanes, more near towards the eye wall, you will get a few tornadoes spinning in that vicinity. Because the eye is actually going to move over portion of Abaco and Grand Bahama, we can expect some tornadic activity to actually occur once it actually strengthens to Hurricane Cat 1.
I wanted to also bring up the fact that I know a lot of persons on throughout the island yesterday as we roamed the streets were saying that this storm seemed to have popped up out of nowhere. And it you know, many persons feel as though they weren't given enough time to prepare. And now here it is Monday, Grand Bahama under hurricane watch. At what time did this storm actually form and you guys have been giving out notices?
Well, actually, we have been giving out weather statements for quite a while now. From the system was actually in the Eastern Caribbean Sea and moving towards Hispaniola. And once it crossed over Hispaniola, we were expecting it to actually form into a tropical cyclone. So we have been issuing the statements and trying to make sure the Bahamian public was aware that this is a possibility. And we had, you know, some very strong certainty that it was going to form. So we're trying to keep them updated until it actually form into a cyclone and then issue the alerts. But the weather statements were there to actually prepare the Bahamian public.
Okay. We're being told now that we do have officials from the Bahamas Telecommunications Company on the line. And as you know, this has been a concern for many residents over the years and over the since we had been dealing with storms, especially after Hurricane Dorian. How well do the systems hold up in the event of these storms? And so we'll find out from the Bahamas Telecommunications Company officials just about their readiness plans and how they plan to deal with this storm.
Thank you, Romiko. Additional Romiko here from BTC Management, outside plant, cable development, and maintenance. At this point, BTC Business Continuity Management team has confirmed and done all their checks based on our impending tropical storm, Nicole. We've extended our readiness as in preparing with low-hanging cables securing our network, making sure that all of our generators are topped off and maintained to date. Our Director of Technology and Operations, Ms. Chantel Cox Hutchinson, and our continuity team, we work throughout the year continuously and preparing ourselves and ensuring that our network is state of readiness. At this point, our crisis management team has been activated, and our teams in the country, including Grand Bahama and the Abaco, are mobile and ready. And at this point, it's mentally prepared, as in physically we are ready for our network. For any crisis to come, we're ready to deploy the technicians on the ground to be activated for the readiness to restore thereafter. Ms. Cox advised that the offices in Abaco and Grand Bahama and the Berry Islands are currently closed and will remain closed until the all clear has been given from NEMA. And if we need to utilize BTC contact center until remain or all clear is given. Once that is done, the customers can call our BTC at 225-5282 to giving any updates and follow-ups, and customers can also follow us on BTC social media channels for any updates need be.
Okay, thank you so much for that update. That was officials from the Bahamas Telecommunications Company, BTC, giving us an update on their plans for this hurricane system. Now, we also spoke to the administrator for Grand Bahama, Joseph Ferguson, who says a joint meeting with cabinet technical departments, government agencies, and representatives of islands this morning to further discuss the storm preparations. Some 45 persons were reportedly evacuated from Sweetings Key as a precautionary measure, though he says some people have decided to remain.
A few persons who reluctant to move, but in all, the majority of the persons has been evacuated, and they now being put into shelters. We have opened our EOC this morning at 9 o'clock, and our shelters are supposed to be activated by 12 noon today. We continue to ask persons in the city of Grand Bahama to please evacuate if there's a necessity to do that. We can't force you, we don't like to force you, but if you feel like you need to move, our shelters are all open right now. We continue to list them on the radio.
The administrator says preparations are ongoing and shares what next on his agenda. He also implores residents to heed the warnings and to do what is necessary to remain safe, as storms can often be unpredictable.
Right now, I'm going to inspect all my shelters to make sure that they have the necessary equipment inside of it: generator, flashlight, the necessary food from social services. All those items need to be in place. We're gonna feel a until Wednesday.
Now, the officer in charge of the Department of Social Services for the Northern Bahamas announcing the shelter preparations have commenced. She provides a list of shelters to be activated in Freeport, Central, and West Grand Bahama.
Foster B. Pestana Center, that's Christ the King. That is the Special Needs Center. That is for persons, like it said, with special needs. That is usually managed by the RAN. First Baptist Church, which is located on Columbus Drive and Nansen Avenue. Revelation Faith Apostolic International, Jobson Avenue. Calvary Temple Chapel, Hudson Avenue. Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist, Turkhurst Road. Central Church of God, Coral Road and Pioneers Way. Maurice Moore, Sandcombe Drive, and Maurice Moore Shelter is designated for those persons at the east end of Grand Bahama. New Life Worship Center, that is also on Coral Road. First Holiness Church of God, Young Husband Avenue and Shipton Drive. Bishop Michael Eldon School, East Sunrise Highway, and Outreach Temple, OEC, Pioneers Way and Fawcett Lane. For West Grand Bahama, Bethel Deliverance Center, Jonestown, Bethany Baptist Church, Hannah Hill, Church of God of Prophecy, Seagrape, Church of God of Prophecy, Pinedale, Central Zion Baptist, Pinedale, Newmont Olivet Baptist Church, Holmes Rock.
Now we also have the approved shelter list for the island of Bimini, which are Louis McDonald High School, located in Alistown, and Gateway Gymnasium, located in Baileytown. Shelters in North Abaco include Faith Walk Church of God, Amy Roberts Primary School, and Grand All-Age School Preschool Block. Central Abaco shelters include Central Abaco Primary School, Friendship Tabernacle School, Guanakee Primary School, Hopetown Primary School, and Manawar Primary School. As for South Abaco shelters, they include Soul Seeking Ministries Church, Moores Island All-Age School, Sandy Point Community Center, and Crossing Rocks Primary School. Orson, we heard from the island administrator, Joseph Ferguson, just a few moments ago, who mentioned that some persons have decided to remain in Sweetings Key and opted not to go to a shelter. Is that a good idea at this point?
Sweetings Key, from what I know, is kind of low-lying area. With this system coming across, I wouldn't suggest that they have remained. But those persons, I guess they feel that they can safely ride out this storm. But from a meteorological standpoint, with this type of storm coming across, I will have recommended that they actually evacuated the area.
And you heard it from the chief meteorologist. From his professional opinion, remaining in Sweetings Key is not necessarily a good idea. So hopefully those persons who are there, if you're watching, that you could, heed the warning from those persons who are able to, give a great advice on these weather systems and whether or not you should remain. We're going to go over to the island of Abaco, which knows all too well the dangers of a hurricane, as one of the islands recently decimated by Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Just as the island has started to rebuild, comes another storm. Our Shane Stubbs and cameraman Roger Russell are on the island of Abaco, and as they tell us, residents are hoping and praying for the best.
Yes, as soon as we touched ground here in Abaco, we saw Abaconians in final preparation mode as subtropical storm Nicole makes its way toward the island. Now, we met with Administrator Donna Roll, who says residents on this island are not taking it lightly.
The system is surprising to all of us, and we had an emergency meeting yesterday. And we've been meeting every month with regards to hurricane and natural disasters. So we here in Central Abaco and the Keys, we are prepared. When we look at what has happened to us in 2019 with Hurricane Dorian, even myself got nervous yesterday with regards to the final preparation for this hurricane. So yes, our people here in Abaco are kind of timid and nervous. I just want to let the people know in Abaco that our leaders here are working diligently to ensure their safeguard and just heed every warning put out by the local medias, not social media now, the local medias. And this, let's ride it out, and hopefully, with God's blessing, we'll come to this one with no injuries or damages.
From there, we spoke to residents in the Dundas Town community who say although they are fatigued, they are ready and hoping for the best.
We really getting prepared because we had a bad experience with Dorian, and a lot of residents, they take it serious now, so we're trying to get the place together, and I got my generators running, my generator man radio. He done got I got my 2 generators running, got them full with gas, and you know, we had a bad experience with Dorian, so we really prepared.
We're just trying to help some of the older folks get prepared. Last minute, putting up little hurricane shutters. You know, it's best to be safe than sorry. There's some little concerns. We still have a lot of people, a lot of folks in dorms and trailers, as you can see. And then it ain't really no place for them to go. A lot of people are saying, oh, evacuate, but it ain't really no place for them to go. So they just have to, you know, pray that all is well.
Now, we did speak with manager Rochelle Lightborn here at Maxwell Supermarket, who says despite some shipment issues, they were well prepared to help residents get prepared for this storm.
Lately, we've been having challenges with getting boats in. So right now, we're doing okay, but, you know, we could have done better. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have a boat this week. So whatever we have, you know, hopefully everybody will be able to get something. We've, you know, had a lot of people, they're a little anxious. So right now, everybody's just in panic mode, per se. But, you know, they're trying to hold their best. I guess you can say we're always prepared because we know what's going to happen. But, you know.
As time passes, residents can only hope for the best. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs.
Thanks, Shane. You and Roger, be safe over there as the storm passes over. Orson, on the island of Abaco, residents pretty much getting back to, I would say, to a state of normalcy after Hurricane Dorian, having to go through all of that, and now dealing with another storm. For those persons, what is the impact? What can they expect from this storm as this passes?
Well, one of the main concern that we have for the storm impacting Abaco is the storm surge, coastal inundation, because of the length, the northerly flow is going to be impacting that area over the next day or two. So when you're looking at the northern and eastern coastline of Abaco, this is going to be the main concern. There are going to be some squally rain bands passing over them that are going to actually provide some flash floods in some areas. If there are in low-lying areas, this could be a major concern for those residents.
And at what point would they be feeling the impact of this storm, or some impact of the storm?
Well, Abaco is going to start feeling tropical storm force winds after sunset today. In terms of hurricane force winds, they can look to start experiencing that early tomorrow morning.
Okay. And at what point would they be pretty much in the clear as the storm move over and more so to Grand Bahama?
As the storm moves over, you're talking about a time frame of late Wednesday for the conditions to start improving over Abaco. By Thursday morning, you can see that improvement over Grand Bahama.
And we also have the northern Bahamas on hurricane watch that includes Berry Islands and Bimini. What can we expect on those islands, the impact? What can those residents expect?
Well, the Berry Islands is going to experience similar conditions as southern Abaco in terms of tropical storm force winds and maybe gusting to strong tropical storm force winds. Across Bimini, Bimini is going to experience tropical storm force winds beginning late tonight tomorrow morning, and then exiting by late evening tomorrow night.
And still on the island of Abaco, the various government agencies have been working around the clock to ensure that residents are prepared in the event that this system hits the island. Now, the Member of Parliament for South and Central Abaco, John Pinder, told ZNS News that the island is in a state of preparedness.
We had a heads of departments meeting in the OPM Abaco Marsh Harbor to brief each other on where each of the departments stood and to collaborate where we could to help each other better serve and the people.
Now, the island of Abaco was devastated by Hurricane Dorian in 2019, and as a result of that storm, many residents of Abaco were left without homes, and the government had to relocate them to the domes. Today, Pinder is concerned about them and wants them to seek other places for shelter.
We are firmly encouraging all of them to do so. We have had a good response that most of them are finding safe refuge elsewhere via either shelters, friends' homes, or family. There are still some residents that have not yet, to which we are going out to firmly encourage them to find refuge.
Certainly. We're going to take a quick break, but we invite you to stay tuned. When we come back, we will hear from the water depots. Many residents were out today getting water and making their final preparations. So stay tuned as we continue to track Nicole.
I'd like to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I would like to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I want to put some shoes on your feet.
I want to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I want to put some shoes on your feet.
Let us put shoes on your feet.
Digital bidding for government contracts is now better than ever. All business owners are encouraged to register on the new and improved e-procurement and supplies registry system to access all government contracts. Never miss another opportunity to grow your business. Registration takes just 5 minutes and gives you instant access to notifications of business opportunities and the ability to submit bids to the Bahamas government. Want to learn more? Visit moffvendors.gov.bs and register today.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
J.S. Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed, totally free. Link up with BTC.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Car insurance, home insurance, marine insurance, this insurance, that insurance. The truth is, you may not like it very much, but you need insurance, and it has to work for you. That's why Summit insurance policies are designed with you and your life in mind, fitting your lifestyle and needs perfectly. So you can rest comfortably knowing that your car, home, boat, and business are well taken care of. Contact our agents at Insurance Management today. Summit Insurance. We peak above all others.
Welcome to the all-new CBS Pro Store. We'll be introducing various products such as plywood, sheetrock, metal stud, and a whole array of bulk construction products, so you can expect the same high level of service that you have been receiving at CBS Bahamas. We originally opened the store in 1980 as our retail location. Hearing from our customers that they wanted us to cater more to contractors, we decided to open the CBS Pro Store here at Robinson Road. So come by and visit us at CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road, where we can help you build beautiful.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, that's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. What you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
With the outbreak of COVID-19, we find ourselves having to be more self-sufficient, socially aware, and technically savvy. At J.S. Johnson, we remain committed to our customers during this global pandemic. Our Nassau and Freeport branches are open to assist you remotely, Monday to Friday, between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call 397-2100 or email info@jsjohnson.com. Be safe, Bahamas. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mailboat, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Car insurance, home insurance, marine insurance, this insurance, that insurance. The truth is, you may not like it very much, but you need insurance, and it has to work for you. That's why Summit insurance policies are designed with you and your life in mind, fitting your lifestyle and needs perfectly. So you can rest comfortably knowing that your car, home, boat, and business are well taken care of. Contact our agents at Insurance Management today. Summit Insurance. We peak above all others.
Welcome to the all-new CBS Pro Store. We'll be introducing various products such as plywood, sheetrock, metal stud, and a whole array of bulk construction products, so you can expect the same high level of service that you have been receiving at CBS Bahamas. We originally opened the store in 1980 as our retail location. Hearing from our customers that they wanted us to cater more to contractors, we decided to open the CBS Pro Store here at Robinson Road. So come by and visit us at CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road, where we can help you build beautiful.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, That's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. What you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
Welcome back to our live broadcast of Tracking Nicole. Now, we mentioned earlier that residents of Grand Bahama are out preparing for Tropical Storm Nicole, and the Rotary Water Depot has residents filling their water bottles. Our adjutant was out there and spoke with the residents on how their preparations are going.
Scores of residents lining up here at the Rotary Water Relief Foundation in preparation for Tropical Storm Nicole, many of whom say they have just started making the necessary provisions as this storm came out of nowhere.
We've just started our preparation. I'm just out for water. Yesterday I heard about the lines and so forth. I said, you know, I'm not going to get involved with that. I'll start tomorrow and see where I get.
I'm trying to get some water at the moment. I know with the rest, but food in the house and little candles, little this, little that. Well, I hope for the best.
I did most of my preparations yesterday as far as food goes and making sure that my home is secured. Today I'm just trying to get one bottle of water because that's all I need to top up and make sure that we have enough supplies at my house.
Life's been easy. It wasn't too hard. Just the last step for me. Prep for water. What God has planned, you can't stop. But just what it is, do what you're supposed to do. But you have to have your PPEs, personal protection equipment, your water, food, get your essentials what you need.
Some residents are even comparing this storm to previous hurricanes.
I feel like this storm is very reminiscent of a hurricane walking in. How it just popped out of nowhere and gained strength and over a short period of time. So I'm not taking any chances.
Something like Dorian, it just come and go, and I you know, you can't tell.
Remember, Wilma came in November, last month of the season. So here we are. We're in Grand Bahama, so we should be expecting it. We should be prepared for it. Trusting God that all goes well.
Tropical Storm Nicole is expected to make landfall here on Grand Bahama as early as Wednesday, and residents here say they are not worried and are well prepared. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Adra Quant.
Thanks, Aja. Now, the Department of Marine Resources is releasing a statement to all fishers in the northern Bahamas and extreme northwestern Bahamas. The statement reads that fishers are notified that subtropical storm Nicole has formed in the western Atlantic just east of the Bahamas and could be at or near to hurricane strength before it approaches the northwest Bahamas on Wednesday or Thursday, bringing potential for a dangerous storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall to the area. Preparations to secure your fishing boats, vessels, fishing gear, and other important items from damages or loss should have already begun. Fishers are also encouraged to pay special attention to updates from the Bahamas Meteorological Department on the pending subtropical storm Nicole. Once again, the Department of Marine Resources takes this opportunity to again remind fishers that we are still in the hurricane season, which does not officially end until the 30th of November 2022. And that's the late season storm. This one is being called, Orson, and we're hoping that this is the last of this season. But just before we go, when can the northern Bahamas expect to be in the clear, completely in the clear from this storm?
Okay, we are expecting the system to move out of the extreme northwest Bahamas by Thursday. Right. If it continues on its current track, we're looking at early Thursday morning. But if there's any change within the track, it could be a little later.
Okay, and there you have it. Late Thursday, as you mentioned, and if it changes, we would also be providing those updates. But by 12 p.m. tonight, Grand Bahama, as you mentioned, will begin to feel the impacts for Abaco and the Berry Islands sometime around 6 this evening, as you mentioned earlier. And so, guys, be prepared for that. And you know, be safe as we continue to track Nicole. We also want to remind you that we will be back at 8 o'clock for a special live broadcast, and we will continue to provide updates on this storm. But until then, we ask that you continue to be safe. As the meteorologist mentioned earlier, make your final preparations because 70-mile-per-hour winds is nothing to play with. And so we certainly hope and pray for everyone's safety in the Bahamas as this storm passes over. Good afternoon, Bahamas. I'm Nicole, and I want to thank you for tuning into this special live broadcast of Tracking Nicole. And I also want to thank my guest, Arthur Nixon, for joining us live here today. But be sure to tune back in with us at 8 o'clock. Back in studio.
When a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, it is extremely important to be prepared and know just what to do. Stay informed about the storm's path by